Kingdom Come Deliverance is a medieval open-world RPG that I've always wanted to try on my Mac. Since there's no native Mac version, I tested some workarounds on my M3 Max MacBook Pro with 36 gigabytes of RAM, and I'll now share my findings with you. I'll start with the two methods that worked best, and then talk about the other valid alternatives. But before you choose which one you want, you'll have to buy the game. To help you, we'll leave links in the description to where you can purchase it, and we'll also add links to discounts when such are available. Now let's get to the ways to play it. Here are the two methods that gave us best results. The first one is called Boosteroid, and it's the cheapest cloud gaming service that's actually any good. This is the most plug-and-play solution that we found. The main draw of Boosteroid and cloud gaming in general is that your machine doesn't matter so long as you can supply it with around 40 megabits of stable internet. You can crank up everything to max even in 4K, and you should be more than fine. For a title that came 8 years ago, Kingdom Come can be a surprisingly heavy game in busy towns, and cloud streaming is a neat way to dodge all that heat and fan noise. On Boosteroid, you're essentially renting a beefy Windows PC, so the game can run at high settings without your Mac doing the heavy lifting. Each of Boosteroid's plans lets you stream at 4K and with up to 120 frames per second, so I tried that over my 60 megabit Wi-Fi. As usual, the result was a smooth stream with only occasional image compression during lag spikes in my connection. Indeed, if your Wi-Fi is flaky, you'll feel it as mushy foliage, blocky shadows, or input lag, but thankfully, that happened very rarely in my experience. And with a stable line, this is the best fit for people who want zero tinkering and fast results. All you have to do to start gaming is follow the link in the description, register for the service, and buy a subscription. Then just search for the game and click play. It's all pretty easy, but we have a how-to tutorial if you need it, and an overview of the service if you want something more in-depth to make up your mind. Crossover is hands down the best non-cloud method to play Windows games on Mac in 2026. It will give you the ability to play anywhere you want without internet limitations, and scales better with newer Macs. But you're not going to get anywhere near the graphical fidelity or performance you'll have with cloud solutions. Crossover is the local route, and for Kingdom Come, it's actually in pretty good shape on Apple Silicon. At 1920 by 1200 on the high preset, my M3 Max gave me around 70 to 90 frames per second in the countryside, with towns dipping a bit lower. Based on my testing, I'd say that a sensible minimum for this game is an M1 Pro Mac with 16 gigabytes, where even high settings at a slightly lower resolution can still feel great. The big limitations are the usual suspects. Shaders and shadows can hit performance hard, and texture streaming can get weird if you push things like HD textures. If you run into those, there are a couple of clean fixes I'll tell you about in a moment. Also, with this method, you can use mods for single-player games, and there's a 14-day free trial. To use Crossover, click the link in the description, enter your email, and download the app. Then, after you install Crossover, you must click the Try Now option for the 14-day trial. If you need a longer tutorial, visit our video on that. Just note that the experience with Crossover can sometimes vary between updates, so don't be surprised if it suddenly starts to break the game. If this happens, check our site for the detailed instructions, or you'll have to research this on your own. Now for those fixes I promised you. If you notice textures popping in late or surfaces looking smeary as you ride into a new area, add a simple user configuration text file in the game's installation folder and add a launch option in Steam that tells the game to use it. Check the description to see and copy the settings for the config file. That usually reduces pop-in and cleans up the worst visual glitches. If your frame rate tanks the moment you walk indoors, hit nighttime lighting, or get into a crowded brawl, drop shader quality and shadow quality until the problem resolves. That usually restores a big chunk of performance without making the game look like a different era. And in case motion gets uneven in big towns, cap the game to a steady frame rate and avoid maxing the long distance and visibility sliders. That should smooth out the pacing and bring everything back to normal. Kingdom Come Deliverance punishes a couple of sliders. Be mindful of your shader quality and shadow quality and lower them if needed. Set volumetric effects to medium and set water quality to medium. You'll feel the difference during foggy rides and riverside fights. Keep textures high and skip the HD texture pack if loading stutters show up. The other methods are a variation of this theme. GeForce Now is the best cloud solution with all the bells and whistles, but at double the price of Boosteroid, it's just not worth it, except for a handful of games which can use the latest and greatest effects. Like Boosteroid, it's very easy to use. You just need to register, get a subscription, download its app, and start the game from it. xCloud is Microsoft's cloud solution, and it's by far the worst of the cloud solutions mentioned here, but it comes with the benefit of being free if you subscribe to Game Pass. AirGPU is the rent a gaming PC by the hour option. You buy credit, spin up a Windows machine, then stream it through Parsec or Moonlight. You pay by the hour and prices vary depending on what machine you rent, but the average is around $1. Then you also need to pay for local storage, which is $3.50 per month per 50 gigabytes with a minimum of 100 gigs. Shadow PC is the subscription version of the same idea, where the lowest monthly subscription fee is $34 for US users, and it only goes up from there. EU users get a cheaper plan option that costs €20 per month, but that's still more than twice the monthly fee for Boosteroid's base plan. Sikarugir is the free DIY version of Crossover. It works great when it works, but it's more inconsistent, less intuitive, and has a lengthy setup. As for the setup, you first need to install Homebrew, then Sikarugir itself, then Steam, and then the actual game. The process takes a bit more time compared to the other methods here, and so is beyond the scope of this video. For detailed guidance on how to set up Sikarugir, just click the respective video in the description and it will show you exactly what to do. Here's how I choose between the options for Kingdom Come. Boosteroid is the quick win if you want the cheapest cloud service that still feels solid, and you don't want to think about settings or compatibility. GeForce Now is the premium cloud pick, with the nicest streaming tech and the most consistent polish, but it can be harder to justify unless you're already paying for a higher tier. Xbox Cloud Gaming is the value play if you already have the right Game Pass plan, but availability can depend on region and catalog quirks, so it's not the one I'd build my whole plan around. AirGPU and Shadow PC are basically the full PC experience in cloud, which is ideal if you want mods, extra tools, or the most familiar setup without worrying about translation layers. Crossover is the best local option, lowest latency, works offline, and you can tune it until it feels right, especially if you are on a newer, more powerful machine. Sikarugir is for tinkerers who want a free DIY local setup and don't mind spending time getting it stable. So if you're sword fighting on a spotty connection, go local. If you travel or share a Mac, go cloud. My default recommendation is Boosteroid for ease, Crossover for local play, and GeForce Now if you want the smoothest cloud experience. So these were the best methods for playing this game. If you want to explore more popular gaming titles you can play on your Mac, check the videos that should now appear on your screen, or simply browse through our channel. Also, if you found this content helpful, we'd greatly appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to our channel. Take care and see you in the next one.